Welcome back to Iron Rage, the show where John Romano and I rage about whatever's on our mind, whatever's bothering us, whatever's irritating us. We let it out and we let you guys know about it. And today's topic is the newer generation. How are they disrespecting the old generation? And is it a good thing or a bad thing? And John Romano, I want to start the show by reading a statement by our good friend Bostin that he wrote on Facebook. I think it actually got it kicked off Facebook, believe it or not, but he wrote, "Am I the only one that thinks Frank Zane, who by the way is a three-time Mr. Olympia, looked like smashed assholes? LOL. Only reason I think people idolize him is because it is easily attainable. Soft and small with a small waist ain't that difficult, fellas. Ha ha ha." How do you respond to that statement?
It immediately tells me that he's probably 20-something years old. These younger guys, man, they it's why I told you a long time ago we need to concentrate a little bit on the history of our sport, and it was partly to explain the reason why we harp on Bleckman so much, but all in all, the history, the roots of our sport. I mean, only people, you ask the average bodybuilder that's, 20 or 20, in his 20s or early 30s about the genesis of bodybuilding, and they can just really much tell you that there was a guy named Arnold, and they really don't know anything about, the height classes, the difference in, competitors back then, what was the, how they trained for shows. I mean, to compare a bodybuilder, Frank Zane, in the eyes of a bodybuilding, critic today, it's like looking at a 60s muscle car versus, a 2017 muscle car. They're entirely two different things. So, but the newer version would never be here if it wasn't for the older version. So I think there needs to be a modicum of respect due guys like Zane and Palumbo and Arnold and all of those guys from that era, because if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have bodybuilding today.
Newton said it best. If I have seen further than others, it's because I've stood on the shoulders of giants. And let's face it, Arnold and Franco and Zane and Haney and Dorian were the giants that came before.
Right.
And if you look at the evolution of physiques, obviously Arnold was kind of like out of place. He almost like came too early for his own good. Then they kind of went backwards a little bit in size, but the Zane had that symmetry. He won 3 Mr. Olympias.
Right.
Then you got Franco in there, and then the return of Franco, the return of Arnold. So the physiques and the physique level of development of Frank Zane was far and above what was going on at that point, because guys were not that shredded. He probably was the leanest guy ever at that point.
Right.
But
Mike Mentzer in the late 70s scored a perfect 300 at the Mr. Universe. No bodybuilder since then ever has.
Right.
So what does that tell you? I mean, obviously these guys have, were the pioneers of the modern sport, but people say that Arnold couldn't win the nationals today. I don't know. I mean, that's definitely a statement that begs to be debated. But
it doesn't matter, because Arnold doesn't compete today. He competed
Right.
in the 60s and 70s, and so making that statement is ridiculous, because he didn't have the technology they use today. He didn't have the diet knowledge, the training equipment. So who knows what Arnold would have looked like today? So you can't equate one generation to the other. It's like looking at Jesse Owens. Jesse Owens won Olympic gold in the 100, 200, and long jump in the Munich Olympics. The women today would beat him in the 100-meter sprint. Does that mean that Jesse Owens is a terrible runner?
Right.
No, it just means that they didn't have the technology. They didn't have permatracks. They didn't have the right training equipment. They didn't use anabolic steroids. So there's a lot of differences.
There's a difference in shoes.
Right.
I mean, imagine what Arnold could have done today with the technology. If he was, in his late 20s today. I mean, forget about it. I mean, we talk about guys like Dallas McCarver and coming out of the woodwork. Arnold would have bulldozed all of them. So I don't think those statements are fair, and I really don't think I really don't think it's apropos for a guy, any of these, social media sensations today to be taking shots at, the progenitors of our sport and our culture. Zayn is an icon. You can't go shit on the icons. You just can't do that.
The problem with I think Bostin is he likes to irk people. He knows how to yank people's chains and push their buttons. And I think that he did it on purpose. I haven't even talked to him. I should have texted him and asked him what he was doing. But you know him. He's probably sitting around late at night, bored out of his mind. He took his 400 cc's of injections for the day, and he didn't know what to do. So he said, I'll look through some old pictures. And he just made a very controversial statement, which is something he always does. And people responded, including us.
Yep, they did. So, if he did it for attention, he's getting attention. But I think all in all, apart from him, all of his, contemporaries really need to study the history of modern bodybuilding and understand who these guys are and understand what, they stood for and what their presence and their accomplishments then mean for today. I mean, if it wasn't for Zayn, we wouldn't even be having this whole, classic bodybuilding debate right now. It's because we had him in comparison to the other guys. Of course, a Zayn physique is going to be looked at by the masses as more attainable versus, an Arnold Schwarzenegger of the era, or even a Jay Cutler or a Phil Heath of today. But, you look at these classic physique guys, of which Zayn is clearly the originator, and, you look.
I got Bostin Lloyd. Bostin Lloyd, you're on the air with John Romano and Dave Palumbo on Iron Rage.
What's up?
We all want to know what we're analyzing your latest quote you put on Facebook about Frank Zayn looking like smashed assholes.
Oh yeah. What about it?
Where did that come from? Why'd you put that quote on?
Well, because this is the reason. Because all right, so bodybuilding has changed, right? And you get all these little skinny little fruit cup faggots everywhere, on Facebook saying like, "Oh my God, like he looks so good," and this and that. It's like that's not there's no everyone wants to see freaks. Nobody wants to see that shit. And it's always the skinny little kids that are always looking up to physiques like that. And don't get me wrong, obviously my statuses are exaggerated a bit, but I mean there's nothing really special going on there. You know what I mean? I just don't know. I mean, do you like that kind of physique?
Well, for the day, I thought Frank Zayn was very impressive. I mean, no one had achieved that level of conditioning and his posing and presentation.
Wasn't he in Arnold and Lou Ferrigno's kind of era?
Well, yeah, but he kind of came. He won the Olympia after they did. After they, he came on. He was younger than they were.
Yeah, exactly. I see, and I think Arnold's physique and Ferrigno's physique was just so much more enhanced.
John Romano, what do you have any questions for Bostin Lloyd?
Name 6 other bodybuilders of that era.
He said, name 6 other bodybuilders of that era.
6 other bodybuilders? Okay, so we got Arnold, Franco, Palumbo. You got Lou Ferrigno. Draper was his last name, the blonde guy with the long hair?
Yeah, we'll count him. You got 2 more.
Dave Draper.
He can't do it.
I know the physiques, but I don't know the names, you know what I mean? So it's hard for me to tell you.
You can't do it. Yeah, you can't. You were right, John.
I watched the Pumping Iron. I mean, how about that black guy that trains at Gold's Venice? He looks like fucking amazing still to this day. He's like 70 years old.
The black.
Is it Robinson? Something Robinson?
Oh, he got Robbie Robinson. All right, so that's 5.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
I think
Johnny.
Johnny's texting him in the other room. No, John's point.
I honestly looked at the physiques back then.
He's Googling it on when we can't watch.
I don't know the exact names and stuff, but I know exactly when I saw.
Do you think that the historical significance?
When was Serge Nubret?
That was good. That was during that era too. Serge Nubret. What are you Googling it on your phone?
No, I shouldn't. I wouldn't Google that shit.
Googling it on his phone.
I honestly know more, but I just don't know the names.
All right. Thank you. So you're unimpressed.
To me, everyone I named right now has a better physique than fucking Zayn.
Okay. All right. That's your opinion. I guess you're entitled to it. Did you get kicked off Facebook?
Yes, I did. I got banned.
How did you get banned?
For making a post with my coupon code from my website. Not even.
Oh, really?
Not even a fucking picture. Just coupon code.
Wow.
And so it's free used condoms was a coupon code. Free used condoms, and then they took me off.
Free used condoms you were selling?
Yeah, that was
Free
the
used
coupon code I used. I used
Oh.
sexual shit for my coupon codes, and then they kicked me out. But
Oh.
the fucked up thing, Dave, is I was actually beating the system for a while. I would post a code in the morning,
Yeah.
and I would delete it before midnight, and I would be fine. But I totally spaced it. I didn't think they would delete it, and it was like 12:30 a.m., and they fucking deleted it. As long as you make a post early in the day and you delete it before midnight, you're safe. I just completely forgot it.
Why can't you put a coupon code on Facebook?
I guess now, I have so many haters that report my shit. You can't actually promote on Facebook anymore because of all the paid advertising that's going on.
Really? I didn't know that. Wow. All right.
Yeah, well, obviously you don't get shut down unless somebody reports you. But since I have so many people reporting my shit, it is you're not allowed to promote on
I
that.
got you. All right. Well, thanks for taking the phone call. I don't agree with you with Frank saying, but you're entitled to your opinion. Well, I'll talk to you later. Bye. So that was Bostin Lloyd, John, giving his opinion as always, very strong, very controversial figure in our current modern era of bodybuilding. And,
well, you're right. He has his opinion and he deserves it. But my point was made about, these guys just don't know the history. I mean, you should be able to rap off, 6 top guys from, the 70s and 80s. I mean, they pioneered the sport. If you're legitimately a bodybuilder, it's like being into race cars and not knowing anything about, the genesis of Le Mans or Can-Am or Formula One or anything like that. I mean, everybody knows that shit.
That would be, it's like saying, yeah, that George Washington guy, what a creep he looks like with that wig on,
Right.
Meanwhile, he's the first president of the United States,
looking at the first, Colt 45 and saying, what a piece of shit gun that was,
Right, the first
Meanwhile,
handgun.
the Indians would have fucking killed you for it because they had bows and arrows,
Exactly. Well, once again, a controversial topic, challenged, eaten up, and spit out by John Romano and myself. Hopefully you guys are enjoying all the programming here on RxMuscle.com. If you are, make sure you subscribe below, like the video, and continue to watch all of our RxMuscle.com original TV programming. I'm Dave Palumbo for John Romano. We'll see you next time.